Hey friends, this is Ms. Gross, and we're going to continue our discussion on constructing line plots and answering questions about them. So, what we're going to be doing is, since you already watched the video on your Nearpod lesson about what a line plot is, how it works, and how you can answer questions from it, we're going to practice together. So what I would like you to do, if you haven't already done so, is I'd like you to grab a sheet of paper, either a piece of notebook paper or a sheet from your Rams notebook, and I'd like you to grab a pencil. You can pause the video until you're ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the chart first, because that's going to give us the information to put into our line plot. Now, the title of this chart is Miles Run by Students on Running Day. So we're going to pretend that this is a chart that Mr. Staub made from our school. It's going to be about the miles that the students ran on running day. So one of our labels is miles ran. The other one is number of students. So for 1 mile, we had 6 students. For 2 miles, we had 4 students. For 3 miles, we had 3 students. For 4 miles, we had 8 students. For 5 miles, we had 0 students. And for 6 miles, we had 1 student. That student just rocked it out, and they really ran their heart out. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, remember to follow along with me, I'm going to go ahead and make my line for my line plot. Now, it's okay if yours isn't as straight as mine, as long as it's a line that works. Now, down here, the bottom portion of our line plot is going to be the miles. Oops, sorry. Go ahead and delete that. The bottom portion is going to be the miles that students ran. Really should say miles run by students. So miles run by students. So we know that we had 1 mile run by students. We also know that we had 2 miles run by students. We had 3 miles. We had 4 miles. We had 5 miles. Oops. It was really hard to do this on a laptop. We have 5 miles, and we have 6 miles. Now, there's no need to go below 1 or above 6 because our chart doesn't tell us anything about that, so there's no need to include it. So we have the different miles run by our students. So then on the side over here, this side is going to talk about the number of students. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't turn this. I'm actually not quite sure how to do that. There we go. So number of students. So if you want to write it sideways up your paper, that works. So we're going to talk about the number of students. So what this is the reason why it is turned this way is that it's talking about the vertical part of our graph. The horizontal part of our graph is talking about the miles run. The vertical part of our graph is talking about the number of students. Now, we know that 6 students ran 1 mile. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 6 X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that shows us that 6 students ran 1 mile. And for 2 miles, there are 4 students. So 1, 2, 3, 4. For 3 miles, we had 3 students. 1, 2, and 3. For 4 miles, we had 8 students. Goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. For 5 miles, we had 0 students, and for 6 miles, we had 1 student. Now, if I was to ask you this question, how many students were there in all? What you would do is you would look at either your chart or your line graph, but we're going to look at the line graph. And what you can do is count the X's to see how many students there were in all. So each X represents 1 student. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So there were 22 students in all. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little screenshot of our graph so I can bring it onto the next page so we can answer some questions together. You don't need to worry about doing this because you'll have your graph on your paper. So here is the graph that we made. Forgot our label down there, so let's go ahead and bring that over as well. Okay, so again, we have the miles run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 miles, and the number of students who ran that far. So, our first question says, how many students ran more than 2 miles? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at past 2 miles, you're not going to count the 2 miles, but how many ran more than 2 miles? So starting at 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 students ran more than 2 miles. And how many students ran less than 4 miles? So it's important to pay attention to the word less than and 4. So less than 4, all of these numbers down here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 students ran less than 4 miles. And then our next question says, did more or less students run 1 mile than 2 miles and 3 miles combined? So we're comparing 1 mile with 2 miles and 3 miles combined. Now, we know that 1 mile has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 miles. So there's 6. And then 2 miles and 3 miles combined. So what we're going to do is combine 2 miles and 3 miles. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2 miles and 3 miles have 7 students who ran that far. Now, it said, did more or less students run 1 mile than 2 miles and 3 miles combined? So, what we know from counting the students on our graph, more students ran 2 miles and 3 miles combined. So, less students ran 1 mile than 2 and 3 miles combined. And that's our little example of how to read a line plot, how to make one, and how to answer questions about it. So what you're going to do now is you're going to wait for a partner to finish their Nearpod, and what you're going to do is to grab the independent page from your independent center, which already has a line plot on it that is made for you. What I'd like for you to do is get with your partner, and I want you to answer those questions together using that line plot. Good luck and have a great day.